It's your fault. You're the one who made her eat shit first, and I don't even care. I don't even care. Hey beautiful, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new, hi, my name is Alexis Jayda and welcome. Today's notification shout out goes to Coils of Love. Thank you for always showing me so much love and support. I really appreciate it. It doesn't go unnoticed. Thank you so much. If you want to be part of the notification squad, all you have to do is just like the video, subscribe, hit that notification bell down below, and comment, and you could possibly be the next notification shout out. Holy crap, I always mess up. So it has been a week. Honestly, it really has. I don't know if this is gonna be part 1, part 2. I don't know if I'm gonna even like, because there's so much stuff that happens. You guys know, like, I like to give you guys a lot of details. Well, this freaking bitch in particular put me through hell, so I have like so many stories about this particular person. But I don't know if I can make it into one part. I don't know, but I know there's a lot of you who love the long story times, and that makes me so happy because it feels like we're, you know, like chismeando and all that. I forgot. I have a cup I want to show you guys. It's so freaking cute. But I did order some stuff from Colourpop, and you guys have been telling me that you love that I still show like my makeup and the stuff that I get. So recently, this was my recent purchase from Colourpop. Sorry, babe. I went kind of creepy. I got this one, the Big Poppy. I love it when you call me Big Pop. My nails have grown so much. Like, I need to go and get them filled so they feel like extra long. I don't know how y'all can do it. I be scratching my freaking cola every time. Just kidding. Look at this. Look at this color. Look at that color. Freaking gorge. Oh, I'm obsessed with that one. I got blushes. A lot of you guys, when you guys see this line, you're like, this is all you, dude. This is all you. Because it is all peach. I love peachy vibes. And I was so happy that this came yesterday because it said it was going to be delivered on Christmas. And I was like, there's no way in hell it's going to make it on Christmas because I know everyone's going to be trying to get home. But this is so pretty. So pretty. And then I got the lip liners. I only got 2 of the lip liners. I ordered back up because you guys already know. BFF4 finally. I was going to buy the whole vault thing when it was on sale for like 18 bucks just for the color BFF4 because I'm obsessed with BFF3. But I was like, you know what? They're playing me. They're playing me. I just have to wait. And I bet you anything they're going to have BFF4 after the vault and the deals and all that because BFF4 was out of stock. So I was like, I'm not going to get it. I'm not going to get it. Anyways. That deal was over. It was Black Friday, and then I go check to see BFF4 was now in stock, and it was, and I was like, I knew it. I knew it. So I got backups of that. I got 2 of those. So that's what I'm gonna be playing with. I know I gravitate to these colors a lot, but it's because those are that's my jam. That's my peanut butter and jelly. And then I also picked these up at Ulta. These are the Starluxe Shadow Quads. They're super cute. When my niece was here, I picked them up. So that was like forever ago because she's been at work for like a month already. But I got that. I feel like there's so much I need to talk to you guys about. But there's not. I'm not going to waste your day of me just like... Okay. So let's get into this story time. Sit back, relax, grab a drink. Tell me what you're eating. I loved that you guys told me what you guys were eating in the comments because I was like, yes. If you're doing your makeup, what kind of look you going for, let me know, because I love when you guys get ready with me too. Like, I love the whole, like, everything we got going on. I love it. So this story time takes place when it's coming. Let's go. So this takes place around when I was between 14 15, before Andrew. Around that time, a lot of you guys know that my mom was an addict, so I wasn't living at home. And I needed to make money. I would do babysitting jobs, and there was this one family in particular that I would babysit for, and they had a nanny. Now I worked this job, I want to say like almost a year. I don't even know what to call her. This bitch needs a name that is like, that's you, like, because there's a lot of bitches in my life where I want to give them this name, but this one I feel like is the you. We'll call her Baltimore. I call her Baltimore because she just, like, she just irked me, and I hated saying her name. Like, it gave me asco. Asco, it gives me like, ugh, I want to throw up, okay? So I freaking couldn't stand her. So I worked for this family, very nice family. We will call them, we'll call them the Peach family, okay? 6-year-old boy, 2-year-old daughter, and then they had like a almost like a newbie, but he was crawling around. I never have time for me now. My job was to like clean the restrooms, help her out. She was a live-in home nanny, and I was just there to like help out, pick up the slack, okay? So we're gonna name this bitch Baltimore, because she, ooh, even to this day, she's the type where like she makes you spit. That's the type she is, okay? So anyways, she live-in home nanny, and I was just there. They pretty much didn't want to get rid of her because they have had her so long, and they just felt like she was family and stuff like that, but they wanted her to have extra help. So I came in. They knew of me from like a friend, and that I was like babysitting and stuff like that, and so they were like cool. We got along great. They were nice and stuff. Peach's family was awesome. The kids were awesome. They weren't really like bratty or anything like that. I would have to feed them, clothe them, and since Baltimore knew that I was there, she would kind of have me pick up like a lot of the slack. She was just pretty much chilling, and I was okay with that. I'm not that type where it's like, oh well, I'm not gonna do all this, like what are you gonna do? Because that's none of my business. Like at the end of the day, I knew like she was their family pretty much, and I was just there for extra help. I would talk to my other friends and be like, yeah, and I don't know why I gotta do this like that, like, and the other person not doing anything. Like, it's just like, dude, like just do what you gotta do and get the fuck out of there. Like, it's not even about that. Like, just do what you gotta do and get out. So I had that same like, I don't even care, because I'm just gonna, you know, work, whatever, cool, as long as I'm getting paid. All right. And I already had talked to the mom, and she pretty much told me that the reason why they were hiring me is because they didn't want to work Baltimore so hard, because they seen her like family, and you know, she wasn't old either. She was not old. She was like in her late 20s, early 30s. She lied about her age, so I know she was not all the way there. She had been like 29, I guess, let's say that. She had been working for them, the family, whatever, for so long, and they were just like, you know what, she's like family, so we want, you know, some extra help and stuff. We know you need the help. And I'm like, yeah, like I do, blah 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 blah. I was cool with it. The first day that me and her met each other was so freaking weird. Like, she just sized me up like weird, and I feel like this is just a lot of like Mexican families do, where you give off like judgment right off the bat. Like, I already knew. I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm getting grandma vibes like a mother, because I can just sense it, you know. First day, it wasn't like, oh, a chillax day, we're gonna ease you in. No, she had me picking up all the slack. She was like, oh, we have to do this. She kept saying we, but she kept having me do it, and I was like, you know what, I don't care. Like, I don't care. I'm just gonna do it. Scrub the toilet. And it would be like one thing that she was like watching the shows with the kids, and the baby was pooped, and so she'd be like, Alexa, the baby, diaper, wipies, da da da, come here, do it now. Like, that's how she talked to me. Like, it was like robot, and it was just so weird, because I was just like, God, you're such a bitch. And then I'd be like, okay, like whatever, because I know I had to do it, right? Like, it was just one of those things where I was like annoyed, but I'm like, I have to do it, like just shut up. So she was just, you know, like that. Like, she always had me doing things like that. Like, she would be busy, or she'd be on the phone calling back home to Mexico and stuff like that, and she'd be going like this, like that. That's how she talked to me. And it was just like, I'm like, huh, like what. And back then, now not so much, but back then I was like huge on respect your elders, because my grandma, she like, you know, like told me like it doesn't matter, like respect your elders. Me, I'm like, you guys already know, I'm huge on I don't give a fuck no more. Like, I don't care. And I think it's because like a lot of incidents like this have happened, and so like I'm like, I don't give a fuck, you know. So anyways, one day in particular, we'll call the little boy Max. Max was super fussy, and his panza hurted, and he had kind of like those burps where they stunk, and you knew like, ooh, you got an upset stomach. Like, his stomach was growling, and every time he would burp or anything like that, it stunk. And I kept trying to tell her and stuff, like, his stomach's upset. And she was like, no, está bien, like, he's okay. Like, he just had some beans and stuff, too many beans. He's okay. Don't baby him, don't baby him. And so like anytime I would give any like, oh, maybe we should do this, we should, no, like I know, okay, like I know. And she always gave me that vibe because it's like she was #1 nanny, so it's like, okay, like, you know, these children more than me, okay. And so I would step back and I would just let her do her job, you know. So that day in particular, Max Spansa was growling like a lot, and so I was like, you know, cuddling him a little bit more, babying him, even though she was like, don't, you know, getting all annoyed, whatever. But I honestly think she was just a bitch because she didn't want me hugging him or holding him or bonding with him, because these kids have been with her since birth and they have seen her every day, so they already had this connection with her. But since I came into the picture and I was like, oh, like nice, and like spending a lot of time with them too, they were starting to build a relationship and trust with me too. So she would kind of hate that. Like anytime the 2-year-old or the 6-year-old would like come or pay me any sort of attention and stuff, she would call them right over. It was just like weird, like and I know there's people out there like that, but like that's just so weird and unhealthy. I was just paying a little bit more attention to him, like even though she was like talking her shit and telling me to put him down and that I had to like sweep or I had to do this, I was still doing what I had to, and then I'd pick him right back up, because I know even as a teenager, when I had like an upset stomach, I wanted like comfort on my panza. I'm holding him after I'm done sweeping because she keeps having me do things where I have to put him down, you know. And I'm messaging his mom and she's pretty much always on her side. She's not going to take my side. She probably just thinks I'm just being a whiny teenager bitch, and who knows what story she's hearing from her. So she like didn't really pay that much mind when I would tell her something. She'd just say yeah, whatever Voldemort says, but she knows what's best. We just need you to be there for help. And I'm just like, oh, that's what I'm doing. Like Max over here, his panza is hurting, but I'm like, okay, whatever. So I'm holding Max. He's getting a little bit more fussy, so she feels like she has to come and rescue him, you know. So she picks him up, and then as soon as she's like coddling him, picking him up and stuff, he lets out a big ass pedo. Okay, like it's a loud ass fart, and I'm like, oh, like, you know, he's releasing the gas, and I go, aw, that's important. I'm like, aw. And so she takes him into like the kitchen, and she's like, you know, just patting his back, still being cute with him. And then she calls me over, and this bitch is never nice to me, like never nice to me. At the time, she was baking something, and this is what the story time reminded me of. And she calls me over and she's like, Alexis, and I'm like, what? No, she calls me Alexa, and that's why I hate when people call me Alexa sometimes. Like the name is cute, but I just hate it because a lot of the bitches in my life would call me Alexa or mispronounce my name on purpose because they didn't think I was shit. Like that's like like it pisses me off. Or I know people like to name me like AJ and like it comes from a good place, so I'm like, okay, yeah, but like Alexa and AJ are names like people would call me because like they didn't want to say my name, because like my name, like I don't know, took away some of their power or some shit, I don't know. But they always would be Alexa or AJ or what's the other one, Alejandra. And I'm like, I like that name Alejandra because like I have a really close cousin named Alejandra, but don't, like, it was just like, why it's just Alexis, like why are you doing that? Anyways, she's like, Alexa, and I'm like, oh. So I go over there. At the time she was making like flan, okay, and it has like the flan, and it has like the caramel on top and stuff, you know, all that. Okay, so at the time she's making that, so I'm like, okay, maybe she wants me to come and taste it, something like that, whatever, you know, giving this freaking puta the benefit of the doubt. So I go over and she has the flan out right there and stuff, and then she has like, it looks like it's like caramel on her finger, okay. And before I could even like my mind to register anything, because I'm taking care of the kids and I go over, you're distracted, you're not thinking, going in, you're not like thinking. So I'm like, what? And she's like, then taste it. And before I could even, it like hits my lip and goes up, and then she goes, like the exact same way I fucking did it. And like before I could even like and smell, I was like, oh shit, I'm got you again. I'm like I'm like, oh my god. And so I run over to the sink. She's laughing, and then she starts telling me like, yeah, like you were right, his panza, like it hurts and stuff. And then I'm like, did you really just put shit in my mouth? And she's like, oh my god, it's a joke, you see, that's why I don't play with you, blah blah blah. But she's telling me in Spanish, right? And it sounds harsher in Spanish, and y'all know my Spanish is not like perfecto. So I am like pissed because I don't think that shit is funny, because it's like, I can get sick, bitch. Like, the fuck? That is not okay. I'm literally gagging. I'm like scratching at my tongue. Like, it is so freaking gross. Like, this shit was hot. So it was disgusting. First of all, who jokes like that? That is gross. And it was just for her to be a bitch. Like, honestly, that's what it was. It wasn't like we played like that or anything like that, but that's just the type of person she was. Like, if my finger was too close to the drawer or something like that and it was open, she would try and slam it. And I'm like, oh shit. She'd be like, ah, almost got you. Evil fucking bitch. Like, that type of like, or if I was walking by, whatever, she'd put her foot out and be like, eh. Like, she was that type of mean, bitter bitch where you're like, that's not funny. Like, you're trying to hurt me. So when that happened, I was like, ew, like, you're ugly. I was like, estás fea. And so she was like, what? No, estás celosa. And I was like, no, I'm not. I was like, celosa de qué? Like, you don't have anything that I'm jealous of. And ugh, I hate when people think that, like, when you call them like ugly because they're being nasty. I'm not talking about appearance or anything. I'm talking about like your fucking aura, bitch. And she was like, estás celosa. I was like, no, I'm not. Like, and so, oh, my stomach was just upset the whole day. It was just a little bit of poop, but I still was like, oh, like, I couldn't even eat the flan. And she got down in the kitchen. Like, she got down in the kitchen, but I could not. So when the Peaches got home, mom and dad got home, they were asking like how the day went and stuff. And I freaking told them. I was like, the baby had an accident and it got on her finger, and she thought it was funny to have me smell it and hit it on my lip. And she was like, it was an accident. She's like, I just wanted her to smell it and I didn't mean for it to go to her lip. No. She would have been like, smell. I would have been like, it's like, oh, but no, she went like that. And like, bitch, like, no. So we just kind of sounded like really catty, always fighting like that. Miss Peach thought it like, oh, like, Alexis, she's like the sister you never had. I used to fight with my sister like that all the time. And I was like, no, she's just rude. And I made sure to tread lightly too, because this was the only money that I could make, because I couldn't go and find like a job at the time because I was still like not old enough to work yet, you know? I didn't want to overstep it with the bitching and complaining, because she could be like, okay, well, this isn't working out. We're not gonna get rid of Baltimore, so suck it up, bitch. You know, pretty much. My guard went up like a motherfucker with her, because it was just constant like rudeness. And she would tell me and stuff, ¿Dónde está tu mamá? And I would be like, oh, está trabajando, like, you know, like, oh, no está, like, she's over here, she's over there. But at the same time, like, you don't give a fuck, bitch, why are you asking me? Like, it was just, ugh. But for like, to be nice and to keep things cordial, like, I would answer her, because like I said, it was like, she is older than me. I gotta respect my elders, you know? So she would be like, eres un mentirosa. And I was like, why? And she was like, ¿Dónde está tu mamá? Like, asked me again. And I was like, bitch. So she'd basically be like, you're a liar, huh? And I was like, no. And then she was like, well, where's your mom? And so I would tell her and stuff, like, she's working. Why do you want to know? I'm like, ¿por qué? I'm like, why? Why do you want to know? What's up? I just want to know, like, where's your mom and stuff? And I'm like, why? So she was like grilling me about my mom a lot, and a lot of people would use my mom as like my weak spot, and I already knew this because I was with the ex at the time, and his mom too. That's another freaking bitch that I cannot stand. Like, even till this day I cannot stand. And so I already had this defense mechanism that would like go up, because I would be called, like, you know, I would never forget, like, his mom was like, you know, like, you're just a dog from the street. Like, you're like a dog from the street. Like, eres un pinche perro de la calle. And I was like, bitch, that hurts. Like, who fucking says that to a child? Dumb bitch. So I already was like, okay, like, why does she want to know? Like, what is the need to know? Like, she just kept at it. And I would tell her, like, why? Like, where's your mom? She's like, Mexico. And I'd be like, okay, que bueno, like leave me alone, bitch. And it was just like she just wanted me to admit and stuff, like where my mom was and stuff. And I hate when it's like it's not coming from a good place, like you like don't pity me. Like don't fake pity me, because that's just annoying, you know. She would ask and stuff and ask and ask and ask, and I'm like, oh, she's at work. And then she was like, ¿por qué no me dices? And I was like, because I don't want to. We're friends. I was like, we're not friends. Because like I was like, yeah, like we're not friends. So no. And I was like, I don't want to talk about my mom. So one time Peaches gets home and Peaches can see that like I'm just agitated, like bad. And not with her kids or anything like that, but with Baltimore. Because even though they got home, we weren't like off the clock. I would have to at least stay like an hour or 2 hours after while they showered, got situated, ate and stuff, and then I could leave. So she could see I was agitated and stuff, and she was helping Baltimore cook and stuff, and she asked me like, oh, Alexis, like what's wrong? And I was like, nothing. And then freaking Baltimore is like, I think she misses her mom. And right away Peaches looks at her like, bitch, like what are you doing? I knew what she was doing, and I was like, oh my god. I go like that, like, oh my god, because I'm like, again? And then Peaches asks me like, what's wrong? And I was like, she keeps asking about my mom, and like I keep telling her like she's working. I'm looking at her like confirm it as well. I was like, but she won't let up. And then she was like, oh, I already told her and stuff that your mom, you know, does drugs and everything, and she's just not well right now, blah 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 blah. And she was like, I'm sorry. I got mad because when me and Peaches had talked, I had told her, because she told me that there was a live-in nanny, you know. I had told her, like, please don't tell her about anything. Like, I don't want to have my mom be a topic of discussion, because I was young and I don't know why, like, it was just always brought up. Like, oh, like, what about your mom, or what about your dad? Like, it's always just brought up. And so, like, if I want to, like, put on a fake story that my mom was, like, good and at home working a 9 to 5, like I want to be able to do that, and you just not already like tell my business, you know. So as soon as she tells me that she already had told her, I looked at her and I was like, ¿qué tienes? And then she's like, ¿qué? Like stupid as fuck. And I'm like like I was just so mad, because I'm like, you're faking this whole time that you don't know why I don't want to talk about my mom or whatever. You over here like, oh no, like what? Just tell me, like trying to act all like, but you already know why. And so I just get up and I just leave. And I'm like, I'm leaving early today. And Peaches is like, I need help with this still. And I was like, I'm sorry, like I need to leave. Like I was just like, I couldn't collect my feeling. Oh my god, I couldn't compose myself, because guys, I was young. Like I was freaking young. I didn't have my chill button like I do, you know, now. Like it was so hard, especially because this person had been bugging me and bugging me and bugging me, and it was just annoying. Like anything we talked about, anything. And back then my mom had a really bad habit when she would go on these bipolar episodes. She would get rid of everything. So she would give all our clothes away, our furniture, like everything, because she'd be like, nope, we're gonna get brand new, we're gonna get this. It's something that, like, you know, my mom would do and stuff. So I didn't really have, I only had like 3 outfits, maybe 2. So I kind of much was like a picture, because that's what the ex's mom would say, that like I was like a photo, because, and he would say too, I would wear the same thing, but it's like, but I didn't have money, you bitch. So that's why. So she would make comments like that, like, oh, like how come you don't dress nicer, like how come this, how come that, like those pants again. And I know I had like 2 or 3 pairs of pants, so I would try to like switch them up or do a different style, like pit them up and like rubber band them. Like I would try, because like I felt stupid always wearing the same freaking thing. Like my shirts like had holes in them and stuff. And don't feel bad for me, please don't feel bad for me. I would like have holes in them and stuff, and like she would like tell me and stuff like, oh, is that the new estilo? Like, you know, she would just constantly like picking on me. So I was just like, oh, like fed up, like, oh, this bitch, like she knew all along, because she would tell me like, how come your mom doesn't buy you better pants, like how come this, how come that. And like the bra that I had too, it would kind of make me, it was too tight for me because I had that since like forever, and so it was too tight for me. So anytime that I would wear anything, she would tell me and stuff like, dile a tu mamá to buy you a better bra, you know. And so she would always be like, mom, 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 mom. And this whole time this freaking puta sucia knows that my mom out in the streets. And so I was just like infuriated. So when she did that whole like whatever she was doing, I was just like, and I could just like not contain myself even when Peaches was talking, because Peaches was nice. She was like a bridge that I didn't want to like burn, and so it was like really respectable. I respected her. And I wasn't like, you know, like disrespect or anything like that, but I was pissed. So even her telling me like, Alexis, come back, like talking to me, I was like, I can't. Like I was just so freaking angry because I'm like, you are nasty. And like people like this who have came into my life that are like this nasty, I'm like, that's so crazy. Like, you know, the devil is real when there's people like this who exist, because she was just mean like that. And she knew that I didn't have a dad, and so she would like call me a mutt sometimes too. So she was just like evil, you know. On my way walking, I was like, I gotta get this bitch back. Like I gotta get her back. I gotta make her life hell, because I'm tired of her being so evil. And I'm like, maybe she's like mean to me because she thinks I'm going to quit. And like, I'm not going to. Like, I'm not going to quit. I'm not going to give her the satisfaction of me being like, oh, I can't because I got a better job. Like, they know that's not true. Like, they're going to know, like, she couldn't handle the heat, so she got burned and she checked out. You know what I mean? So, I was like, hey, you know what, Lex? You got to do better. You got to do better and not let her phase you. You know, if anything, make her feel stupid for bringing up mom. And if she does, be like, yeah, she's out there and I'm here and it's hard. Do you feel better about yourself? You know, like that kind of thing. And I was like, oh, but at the same time, I don't want her to pity me. Like, you know, because that's something that you don't ever want. You don't want someone who hates you to pity you. Like, it's just, it don't even feel good. It just feels nasty. I get home and I get a text message from Peaches, and she like explains to me like, hey Alexis, like I understand that you were upset, but I found that very, very disrespectful for you just to walk out. I was talking to my husband, I wasn't say Peach, but it's like duh, they're both Peach. I was talking to my husband and I think it'd be best if you just take a couple days. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, I wasn't gonna fight with her about it. Like, no, what about me? What about like, oh, but she this, because at the end of the day, it does not matter. That girl has more history with them than I do. They're loyal. They have no loyalty to me. It's not the same. I take those couple of days and then I go back days later and I just have this fake attitude on. And I did that a lot when I was younger, is I would fake happy and eventually I would start being happy, you know? People tend to like feel like they can't really pick at you, you know? And I noticed that with her, like when she's seen that like I was happy and she wasn't getting to me, it was kind of like she felt kind of stupid sometimes, not all the time, because she was a ruthless bitch. But I just went back and I was just happy, and she was like in the sala and I was doing the dishes, because like as soon as I walked in, she's like, hey, the dishes, they need cleaning and stuff. And I was like, okay. And so I just took off my shoes. The babies ran up to me, I hugged them and stuff, and they're like, we missed you. And I was like, I missed you guys too. And I go to the kitchen and I start washing the dishes. Her little finger thing, I could not stand. But I was like, you know what, okay, whatever. I'm washing dishes and I noticed that the baby again, he was having those bubble guts again. And I was like, what the fuck, like why, you know? And so she was telling me and stuff that like she thinks that the Chinese food that the mom brought that night didn't settle in his stomach right. And I was like, oh, okay. And so she was telling me that like as soon as he starts fighting or anything like that, to change him quick, because he's been having like it's been running really, really bad. And so I'm like, okay. So I was finishing up the dishes, cleaning around the kitchen and stuff, no big deal. And then he farts. And so I'm laughing because I don't know, I just think it's so funny. Like when you see like a little baby and they're just like, and they're just getting it, you know? So he starts going. Right away, I pick him up And I tell her and stuff, like, he's pooping, which I don't even know why I alerted her, but I was like, he's pooping. And she's like, okay, get one, I'll change him. And I was like, damn, Alexis, like, why? I'm changing him, and he's wearing like this white outfit, and it gets a little bit dirty. She's in charge of the whites because she was like better at it. I don't know. So I just put them in the washer. So Peach, the mama, already knows I don't ever do whites. Okay, the whole time I've been almost working there for like almost a year, whatever. I never ever do whites. Okay, and so I just put it in the washer. And as I'm putting in the washer, I see a pink shirt. As I look at it, and it's a little girl's favorite. Okay, this was me, but I was like, I gotta start working little by little. So I see the pink shirt, and I see that there's some white clothes in the washer. So I grab the pink shirt and I just stuff it in there. Okay, I just stuff it in there. And this pink shirt had like, I don't know if it had like marker on it or something like that, because like the kids would color and play and stuff, but it had like red mark all across it. So I knew it was gonna fuck some clothes up. The guy that I would work for, will babysit the kids, he worked in a really expensive like corporate thingy. Okay, his dress shirt was in there, and so I just put it like all the way in there, like tucked it in there. Okay, and so I just came out like nothing. Like okay, whatever. We're all sitting down watching TV because I got everything done around the house that needed to be done, and every little thing that she was telling me, I got it done. So we're just sitting down. Me and the baby are chilling. He's sitting right next to me, like on top of me, and he goes, and it like leaks to the side where it's just so watery. I think he maybe just like, I don't think it was the Chinese. I think he just didn't have like fruit would just run through this child. So I'm like, oh my god. And she starts freaking out because it's like really nice couches. She starts freaking out, and she's like, oh my god, pick him up. And I'm laughing because I don't know why, you guys, my son has it too, where we get really uncomfortable, we laugh. I'm laughing. I pick him up. I have poop over me, like all over me, because like he is just running. It's running down my arm. I'm picking him up, like it's just like everywhere. She's like pissed. She is pissed because she's like, I told you as soon as you hear it. And I was like, he just went right now. Like, we were sitting down, you heard him. So I'm like fighting with her, and she's like telling me and stuff to clean it, and at the same time she's telling me like, hurry up, like clean up the mess. And I'm like, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to get him, or you want me to clean the thing? Like, which one do you want? And so I'm getting agitated because I'm like, oh my god. And so she throws a little dig, and she's like, God, she's like, you can tell that you weren't raised with them, you weren't raised with your mother. And so I'm like, what? Like, who? Like, what? And so I get mad, and I just give her to him. And as I'm giving her to him, like the caca's like running on him and stuff. And so like I just move really quickly, and I just start picking up the freaking shit that's on the couch. And so she's mad. Like, she's so mad that she's frozen, and she's not even doing anything. Like anything. She's just holding him there, and she's just frozen. Like, did this little bitch just do that? And so I look up at her, and I was like, hurry, change him, he's gonna get a rash, hurry. And I'm like, like, you know, trying to like laugh at the same time, like trying to give her like, yeah, I'm matching your energy, bitch, that you gave me. And she's like, vas a ver, like that. And I'm like, okay. At this point I'm like, what? Like, honestly, what? Like, that would make my day if you beat my ass. Because even though my mom is crazy right now, if I would tell her what you just said, she beat your ass. Like my mom was the type. She goes and she changes him, and I'm cleaning up the mess, and I have like wipies that I have like the poop on. Like, he just exploded. Like, you know when kids just have like bad diarrhea and it's just runny and it's like it won't stop? It was like that, like everywhere. And I'm like, god damn. Like, oh my gosh. She leaves him upstairs. She comes down, and the other kids are just like laughing. They're still watching TV. They're like, ew, gross. You know, they were such little sweethearts. Like, they really did not give me a hard time. It was the bitch who gave me a hard time. So she comes back down, and she's helping me clean it, and she's telling me that she's gonna tell Peaches that it was my fault. And I was like, how was it my fault? She's like, no, it was your fault. And I was like, how was it my fault? And she just kept saying it. She's like, I'm gonna tell her it was your fault. She's like, I told you that his stomach hurted. And I kept telling her, I'm like, how was it my fault? Because I feel like she was really like getting me in trouble with like mom and dad. And I'm like, how is it my fault? Like I kept like telling her, like, tell me how, as we were like still scrubbing, because it like got this freaking couch really marked up. It was one of those couches that were like super nice, but it was like, it's not leather. It's the ones that are kind of like I'll post a picture here so you see which ones I'm talking about. So when you stain it, you can see it, and like when you try and clean it, like it gets darker. So like that. And if you've ever had diarrhea babies, you know that like it stinks. Like it literally stinks. Like it, like even just smelling it, it stinks. And so me and her going back and forth, and then she's like telling me and stuff, like I'm already annoying her. She's like, yeah, I don't want to hear it. It's your fault. Like it's your fault. And so I was like, okay, like the way she said it was like, yeah, I don't want to hear it no more. Like it's a way that you would talk to a child, where you're just like, there's no ifs or buts, like shut up, it's your fault, don't talk to me about it. Like it's not up for discussion. Like it is what it is. And so I piped it down and I was like, okay, alrighty then. So this whole time I'm waiting for them to get home, because I'm like, oh my god, like I'm gonna get yelled at, you know, like. And I was like, I'm not gonna even message Peach and explain my situation. Like I'm just gonna, like, it is what it is. Like if I get fired, it is what it is. Because like the way this girl made me feel was like it was the end of the world, you know. Like the whole time, like, have you guys ever felt like so nervous you feel like you're tingling? Like that's how I felt. Like I felt like I was tingling I was fucking vibrating my ass throughout the house. Okay, like I was just really sad, you know. And she was just really rude, you know. Like anytime she'd ask me something, she would be like hurry up with your response. Because if I took too long to answer her, she was like, what? Like it was just like snap. Like that was her thing. And I'm like, damn man, like you were a bitch. She's finishing up with the clothes, right? She's sitting on the couch and she's finishing up with them. And I don't think she even really paid attention, because like the lights are dim and we're sitting on the couch again and we're watching a show. She has a basket. Peaches comes home with her husband, you know. They come to the door, the kids are excited, mom, dad, and they come in. Right away I see the dad make eye contact with the couch, and I can see this freaking big ass wet stain. And he's like, what happened? And before I could even go, before I could even brief Baltimore, is like, fue Alexis. And Alexa, my bad, fue Alexa. And I'm like, and I just like fixed my face. And I was like, fue accidente. Like it was an accident. Like I had the baby. He still has chorro. And he was sitting on me sideways. And it got all over the couch. I'm sorry. And I was like, I try to clean it up the best that I can. I'm sorry. He looked kind of pissed. But I think even he knew that Baltimore was a bitch. And he looked at it. And he's like, you did the best you could with cleaning it? And I was like, yeah, I did. And I just felt like really like stupid, you know. And in a way I did see him as a father figure, like, because he was a dad, and because like he was pretty nice. When I would ask questions and stuff, he wouldn't respond to me like if I was a stupid ass little kid. Like he would talk to me right. And so he was like, you cleaned it up the best you could? And I was like, yeah, I did. And then he's like, okay, cool, because someone's gonna come pick it up, because we just put it for sale and someone's gonna come pick it up. He was like, oh well. Her face just looks so like, and I was just like, oh my god, like what are the odds? What are the odds? Because we both didn't know that they were gonna sell it. Like what are the odds? Like what are the odds? So he was getting new couches. I guess it was gonna be like a surprise for the wifey, because she's been wanting them and stuff. And it was just like, it all added up. And so I was like, what are the fucking odds? Like, oh my god, I've only had a few things like that happen to me, where it's like, oh, like, oh, like the stars, everything aligned perfectly. So I was like, oh my god. And right away Peaches, the wife, looks at me and she just kind of like smiles, because she could probably see the worry on my face. And who knows if homegirl Baltimore was over there texting like, yeah, she did this, she's so stupid or whatever. Because there was a few times, because I told you I have a lot of stories about this bitch, that I would see her phone right there and I would peek, and my name would always be brought up. And so I'd be looking at it and stuff, and I'd be like, oh my god, like what and I don't want to seem like, oh my god, I never do anything, I'm so innocent, but like I really didn't do anything for her to like not like me, like it. And if it was like, what did I do? Like, let's talk about it. Like, I'm sorry that I just have a face that you just want to punch. Like, the fuck. I look relieved, she looks at me. So remember, she's still folding clothes. So Peaches, the mom, sits right next to her. She's folding clothes and stuff. They're talking. Remember, we still can't check out for like another hour or two. Well, Baltimore, it's different, but I feel like she checked out too because I had stayed a little bit later over sometimes, and like we would eat and stuff, and she would completely like not do anything. Like the mom and dad would be doing it, you know? Folding the clothes, and I notice that his work shirt is like pink. And he notices because he's having a beer and he's sitting down with us, and he's like, is that my shirt? And she's like, yeah, it's your shirt. Like, she feels all cool, and she's like going like that when we're watching a novela, you know? And then he's like, what did you do to it? And she looks at it, and I don't even make eye contact with her because I was like, I gotta act like I'm not listening to this conversation, because then she's gonna be like, where Alexa? So I'm like not making eye contact with her. I'm watching the novela, and I'm like holding the baby and stuff like that, because I am scared, because I'm like she does the whites for a reason, because I would do the darks and stuff because she would do the whites, and I guess she could get them out. Me, I didn't know how to do the whites, I guess. I don't know, but my grandma's like this too. She's very particular. Like, she don't even let my mom do the whites because only she could do the whites. So anyways, so she looks at it and stuff. He turns on the light because remember the lights are kind of dim. He turns on the light to like look at it, and it's like pink. And so she starts going through all the clothes and stuff, and then she sees it. She's like, oh, like I probably like threw it in there. Like, oh, you know, me, like, I'm so sorry. And he just like looks at her, and he was like, that was my favorite shirt. Of course, huh? I feel like that's what all guys say when something of theirs gets ruined. Like, oh, I really like that one. And it's like, really? So she feels stupid. Like, you can just see the discomfort on her face. Like, she just feels so uncomfortable. And I look over as she has this fucking shit face on, or pito face, and I'm like, and then she just looks at me. She's like she's not even like clicking it, you know? And I'm just like, I leave, and I'm like, bye. Like, I'll see you guys tomorrow. That was that day. So it was like one down, and I felt good. Like, you ever feel like something was successful when you did a petty thing back and you felt good, and you're like, damn, like it went smoothly? Because 9 times out of 10 it doesn't always go smoothly when you get back. Well, when I get back, it doesn't always go like correctly. I'm like, fuck, stupid. So I was happy, went home. I was like, she really thought. And I was just like, oh, like hopefully they fire her. But like, that was me thinking stupid, because they would never fire her. The next day I go to work, and I'm just freaking happy. Like, I'm just happy, like in a good mood. No one can tell me nothing. And Baltimore is just like on one. So I noticed that there's like a white basket with white clothes in it, and I tell her and stuff that if she's gonna throw that one in, because like there was a load that I had to do for them. And then she's like, no, Peaches said that she'll do it after work. And I'm like, what? Because I'm like trying to bullshit with her, like, what, girlfriend? You know, I was like, what? And she's like, yeah, you know, he got really mad yesterday. And I was like, that sucks. And I was just being like so extra. And then she's like, yeah, never have I made a mistake with the clothes. Never. And I'm like, And then it clicks, I think, in her head. And I feel like I was doing too much too, with like my smiles and shit. But at the same time, I didn't care. Fue tú, huh? Meaning like, it was you, huh? And I was like, me? No. And I walk away, and I could just feel her in the back of my head. Like, you know how you just feel like tension? I felt that. And I was like, ooh, like my back tensed up and everything, because I was like, she's gonna kick me in my fucking back. So then I go with the baby. The baby's poop is still not like all the way good. He had sensitive panza. Like, give him oranges, he'd poop. Give him bananas, he'd poop. Like, sensitive, but like the poop that was like creamy, right? So I'm changing him, and I can already feel like, oh my god, like me and her are gonna get into it again, because she was just in a mood. Like, she came upstairs and she was just like slamming the doors, moving everything, cleaning, like not really cleaning, but she's like picking up stuff, and you just know when someone's extra when they start like huffing and puffing, doing the most. I'm glad I got an extra of the petal fleece, because that looks like what? My favorite colors. Got colors. How ironic, because we're gonna be talking about shit. No! So she comes in the room and she tells me and stuff like, what are you gonna make to eat? And I'm not the one who does the cooking, okay? Because like I don't really know how to cook yet. And the only thing I know how to make is like the enchiladas that my mom has taught me to make and stuff. And I'm like, what? You know? And she's like, yeah, what are you gonna make to eat? I don't feel like doing anything today. And so I'm like, okay. And she's like, the kids are hungry. I'm like, okay. Like getting all annoyed with her. So we go downstairs and I'm like, okay, we'll make something. We get to cooking and I'm holding the baby because like when I'm in the kitchen, he wants to be held. So I'm like, okay. So I'm holding him and I'm like, you know, trying to like find something to like cook and stuff. So I'm like, oh, like patting his back, like what to make and stuff, like poor life, you know, thinking of like what to make and everything. And then I can just like feel, because like my hand's like under his culo, you know, like this, and I'm like, and I just like, oh my gosh. So right away there's like a stack of like, you know, I don't know if you guys do it, but like we do it too. Or if we go out to eat and they give us like a stack of like freaking napkins, we just leave them there so we can use them. I grab one right away and I'm like cleaning my hand because I got a little bit on it, and I throw it in the garbage. I guess where I went to go pick some up, a little trickled on the napkin, right? I didn't know. So I go and change him and I come back and I leave him on the couch with her. These are pretty. And so I just make something simple like a freaking salad and some shredded chicken, okay? Salad and some shredded chicken, and I serve it for me and her because even though she was a petty bitch, she would serve me too. She sits down, we're talking, and she's bringing up, the topic is brought up about my mom. So she's like asking me like, am I gonna have like a quinceañera? Is my mom gonna be able to afford it? Like, oh, no tienes papás, like blah blah blah, like you don't have a dad, like how are you guys gonna do it and stuff? Like, do I want a quinceañera or not? You know, and I'm like, no, like probably not, like I don't want to. And we're like eating and stuff, and out of the corner of my eye I see that the napkin kind of has like some doo-doo on it, like you can barely see it. So I try not to pay too much mind to it, and I'm like, no, I'm like, did you have one? And she's like, yes. And we're like talking about it and stuff and how beautiful it was for her, and oh my god, it was just so amazing and blah blah blah. And I'm like, oh, like, you know, like nice. And she's like, yeah, but I was a good girl. And so I'm like, oh, like, good job, because we all know I was not innocent, okay? So that's what she kept pointing at, you know? I don't even think I will get one anyways. Like, even if my mom like was better and stuff, like I haven't been the best and stuff. Like I haven't had a birthday since I was like 12, 13 because of like me being a little brat and stuff. And she's like, well, why? Like, why are you? Like, why do you make it so difficult? And I'm like trying to grab I want to reenact it for you. This is it, okay? Paper is brown, like the ones that you get like at Burger King, okay? It's brown. She's like, but why are you? Hmm? That's what she did, right? And I'm just sitting there with my napkin eating, and I'm like, what happened? Why are you doing that? She was like, what did you use to clean him? And I was like, the napkins. And she was like, what? Because like she knew about like, you know, him like going poop and stuff. And so she gets up right away and she's like gagging. She throws up in the sink because of how bad it is. And I'm just freaking laughing. Like, I can't help it. I laugh in awkward situations. Like, don't take me anywhere because I freaking laugh. And I'm like laughing, and she was like, oh, me duele mi panza. Like, oh, Alexa's like, no. And she's like, you know, Alexa, she's like throwing up. And I'm just like, oh, like she threw up. I think she wanted to throw up, but she wasn't eating food. But when she was eating food, it made her gag, you know? So I'm just like, you know, and she's gagging more, and she's like, oh, the ranch. And so I'm like, because have you ever thrown up ranch? It tastes disgusting. And so I'm like laughing, and I'm like, oh, it was just a joke. It was just I'm just playing with you. Like everything she was doing, I was just doing back, like ha 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 ha. Like it's, oh. she didn't think it was funny. Like, she did not think it was freaking funny. Like, oh my gosh, she would think I almost killed this girl. So after she was done throwing up, she went and took her shower. She sits on the couch and she has like her socks on, and she's just like all cuddled up in her robe, and she just looks like, oh my god. Like, you would think that she went and put some blush under her eyes, where she was just like. And so I was like vacuuming, so I'm like, are you okay? And she was like, no, like when I did it too, like fue poquito. And I was like, no, it was not. It was a lot more. Like, I ate more shit than you did. And she was like, no, like I thought we were doing better. I was like, like the fuck, you really fucking thought, like, you fucking bitch. Peaches gets home before I could even tell her how the day was or how her day was going. She's over here giving like, oh my god, and Alexis made me eat a pile of shit. I'm like, no, I did not. Like, oh my god. And right away the dad is like, oh, like he can already know, like, oh my god. And it really literally was like we were like freaking sisters, because like how much we would freaking like fight. Like, if I was in the kitchen and this bitch tried to get by, like she would literally fucking bump me with her ass out of the way. And like it wasn't even like cute. Like, she would do it to be mean. And so we would constantly like do shit like that to each other. And so he was already to the point like, oh my god, like annoyed. Like, he didn't even want to hear it. He was like, I was gonna say her name. Stop. He was like, it's your fault. You're the one who made her eat shit first. It's your fault. And then she's like, no, like, fue poquito. Like, she kept like saying like, oh, she's like, she doesn't know how to play. No sabe cómo jugar. I was like, yes, I do, bitch. Yes, I do. And so I didn't call her bitch, but I was like, guess I do. Yes, I do. Like, oh god. That was the time I made her eat shit, because it was on there. Like, it was on there. Like, have you ever been eating good scrumptious and you're like you're just using the napkin to like cover whatever might come out, but you're like pushing? Yeah, I wanted to like show you like the picture that I have on here. I'll show you. It was like that much that was on there, and we constantly did catty shit like this to each other, like all the time. Like, it was just so annoying, and I could not stand her because of how much older she was than me. It was like 15 years older than me, and it was just so annoying. Like, I remember one time I was holding the 2-year-old. I was holding the 2-year-old. Me and him were just playing and stuff like that, and he had chicle, he had gum, and she's like, put it in her hair, like just like annoying shit like that, where it's like, who raised you? Like, why are you acting like that? Like, what's wrong with you? Like, I would literally have to tell her like, what, like, ¿qué traes? Like, what's wrong with you? Because like it was just so much uncomfortable. Like, I could feel her hatred for me, and I didn't know why. Like, I honestly did not know why. Like, I would tell her and stuff like, ¿por qué me odias? Like, why do you hate me? And she'd be like, what? No, I estoy jugando with you. Like, I'm just playing with you. And I'm like, no, you're not. Like, dude, you hate me. Like, and we would have our moments where we would get along and stuff, but it was like always like if she was trying to use things and then like try to throw them in my face later. Like, she was an evil, vile person. Like, she literally was. And she got caught up a lot of the times too, because she would give me too much information and I would just listen. And then when the time was right, I just give it right back. Like, when she got caught having sex in the house, that shit was funny. And I didn't even care. I didn't even care, because she was so rude. Like, me and her, if she would have been nice to me from the get, we could have both been making money and it would have just been chill. It would have been great. But we were constantly trying to like one up each other, and it was just like, there's no competition. Like, no competition. Like, even to the point where like Peaches had to tell her like, tú eres familia, like, you're family, like, you're not going anywhere. That like, I can fire Alexis and that'd be that. And it was like, we had those uncomfortable talks where it was like, I could like just go, like, if you felt that uncomfortable. But she never had the balls to be like, yes, fire her, please, because then she would just look pathetic. You know what I mean? That's the time I made her, well, I didn't technically made her, I let her eat the shit. Anyways, so I hope you guys enjoyed the story time. So sorry if it was super duper long. I hope you guys enjoyed. I miss you guys so freaking much. So sorry for all the noise. There's no school and the kids are just like everywhere here. I need to go live soon so that we can just talk and bullshit. This line was freaking amazing. I love it. This color right here is pretty. So let me just tell you real quick. I used To the Petal on my lips, and then Good Times right there. That is freaking gorgeous. And then on my eye, I use a Wet n Wild. This one is in Starlux. I'm like, it doesn't say. It says right there. Thank you guys so much for all the love and support. Again, mucho you guys. Besos a todos. Make sure you guys like the video if you guys enjoyed. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell so you guys are alerted every time I do post a new video, and leave me your comments down below what you guys thought. Have you guys ever had to experience something like this where someone older than you was just trying you and trying to punk on you all the time? Because I know I'm not alone. So let me know your guys' stories down below. I would love to know. Thank you guys so much for watching. Happy holidays, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.